Alright, sad times because Lillith is in a dire predicament. Let's see if we can you see that white stuff down on the screen? Those are bee larvae that they've removed because small hive beetle have tunneled through them. Now they're all clinging to the side there, which makes me think that my new store-bought queen is in amongst that mess. Every single frame I pulled out was beetle slimed. I'm definitely going to take these out and put them in the freezer to sterilize them and then probably rip them out. I don't know if they were salvageable, but luckily I have identified 8 frames, fully drawn frames. They're not the best. They have a little bit of wax moth damage to them, but they're better than what's going on here. So what I'm going to do in this field of vision is I'm going to try to find the queen on the side here, and then I'm going to put her back amongst these bees. I'm going to clean off this bottom board, kill as many small hive beetles as I can find, switch these boxes out, see if we can't salvage this hive going into the winter. So let's get going. First and foremost, I'm going to look on the side here. There's a whole bunch of bees right here. I'm thinking the queen might be in with them. So if I think of one way to find her, just kind of gently knock them off the sides there. I think if I use my bee brush, just gently knock them off the sides there. And who doesn't fly must be the queen. Alright. So I'm going to smoke now. I hope this doesn't further induce them that this is a bad queen. So they roll her. Okay. Everybody there is good and agitated. So I'm going to take this hive box. Oops. There we go. Take this hive box and I'm going to dump it over the old boxes. They can join their compatriots. There we go. Try to be careful not to step on anything back there. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of flying bees. Let's see what we see here. Okay. So the bottom board, let's take a look at the bottom board really closely. Get out of the air, bees. Get out of the air. So I did a sticky board without sugar shake on Thursday, which was 4 days after I introduced, I think she's down here, 4 days after I introduced the new queens. And that's when I first noticed these dead larvae on the sticky board. Okay. Well, I cannot find her amongst these guys. So what I'm going to do is take this screen bottom board, shake it out over my other box. The box that I'm actually going to get rid of all those frames, but they'll at least be with their compatriots. And at this point, I don't really care that I am probably putting some more small hive beetles back in that box because none of those frames, shoot, I might as well just take the whole box. None of those frames are coming back in there. So we're going to clean this off really, really, really well. So I'm going to sit that there while I squish some small hive beetles on the pedestals here. Squish. Squish. I had planned to put a spare box on this hive because I thought what was happening was that she was getting honey bound, but no, she was honey bound. Small hive beetles have taken care of that. Okay. Alright, so the stand is clean. Let us make sure. You can't hide from me. Let us make sure that there we go. The screen bottom board is clean. And every time I catch a small hive beetle, I squish it. When I came in here before, the right side of the hive right over here was just teeming. And I took them all out, and I scraped them off. I even knocked them off over there on the chicken coop steps in hopes that I could interrupt that breeding cycle, but it just wasn't enough. I'm encouraged that there was larvae to kill. You know, that means that she was trying to lay, right? There's another small hot beetle. Any more? Okay. And it was very discouraging because when I closed it all up, I just saw them flying right back in the entrance. So, small hot beetle trap lost some of its powder. Okay. So I don't think we're going to bother with sugar shaking because at this moment, varroa is not their problem. I've got a couple of pockets of bees hanging out on the bottom corner, back corner. Squish you, squish, squish, squish. There's a bunch of bees hanging out in the corner. Why are you hanging out in the corner? Here, let me dump you back in here. I'm a little bit worried about putting a box back in the same spot because with all those larvae, they're definitely going to try to crawl back in. So I might just end up keeping a screen bottom board on this one for a while. Okay, so we've cleaned all the bees out. Okay, now what we're going to do is put our fresh frames in. Okay, I see no small hive beetles. See any small hive beetles? I see no small hive beetles. Here are the sorts of frames that I have to put back in. They're all drawn cone, so they should be pretty attractive. But they're, you see, a little bit damaged. Have a little bit of wax moth to them. I think it'll be okay. They have been freezer sterilized for over a week. I'm going to put the prettiest of the frames in the center. They do have a little bit of residual pollen in them. So the other thing I'm going to do is make sure to just double down on the small hive beetle traps. Here's the best of the drawn frames, has a little bit of honey in them. Here as well. And I'm definitely going to feed these guys up some more. See that honey spattering out a little bit? There we go. But I still need to find the queen if we're going to make this work. Still need to find the queen. I'm going to definitely take away the feeder bottle that they had and bleach sterilize it because it probably had a couple of small hive beetle larvae in it. Okay. So, let's see. Let's start putting the bees back in our box. And in each case, we're going to make sure that it's just bees we're adding and not these tricksy small hive beetles. We're going to squish those as often as we can. Okay, so there's some. I would really... So they're not buzzing over here in this box, which makes me think, the box behind me, with all the slimed frames, which makes me think that the queen is in there somewhere. Let me look right quick to make sure the queen wasn't like on this frame. I don't see her. I mean, this was one of the new queens. She should be marked. They're all rummaging around like they don't have a leader, so I'm going to guess she's not in there. So now we're going to look very intensely for the queen. I feel like, again, she was on either that side wall or that frame. Yeah, see, look at them flying. They can't smell any queen in there. These guys are being very calm. So I think they do have a queen in here. But we don't want to see any of these nasty small hive beetles. So I think what we'll do is we'll just go through. So here's an example. I don't want to hold it over the hive. Here, let's move this. Here's an example of a small hive beetle slimed frame. Look, it had larvae. It had drawn comb. Let's move you up a little bit. It had drawn comb and kept larvae, and then the small hive beetle got to it. And we're just going to squish them, and you see how they just made it an unholy mess. There's larvae crawling across the comb. Gross! We're going to stick that in the freezer. No bees to speak of on that one. There's quite a few bees in that bottom corner. We'll dump those off and we make sure they're not the queen. Was that the queen? They don't seem to be. But again, sticky, larval, gross mess. So here you can see right there, partially eaten. Right there. There we go. See that partially eaten bee larva? There's a couple queen cups. Alright. Not going back in my hive, no siree, Bob. And it may be too little too late. I may not be able to salvage them despite the new queen. But we're going to try. This one's especially sad because this is a really heavy frame. Let's see. Dump those bees in. This was a really heavy frame of honey. I may be able to salvage that. It might not be too fermented, but they won't really clean up the fermentation. So there's nothing really to be done but just kind of clear out the frames and start over again. You should see this box. It's just full of small hive beetle. Here's some more damage. See how shiny it is? Slick. It doesn't smell, is the weird thing. They tell you it's supposed to smell fermented, but I don't really smell fermentation. It's really sad. I can see some larvae. They started to get their heads drawn on the box. Very dispirited bees. I don't know. It doesn't look like there's very many. Maybe they're on the side of the box now. Alright. Look. See how it drips? Honey doesn't drip out. Slimed beetle stuff does. So yeah, we're going to freeze all that out. See if we can't salvage the bees. Here's a particularly sad frame. Let's see. It's probably left a couple of small hive beetles in there, but we'll see. See, that's a particularly sad frame because of all the capped brood and the larvae just wiggling right through it. I'm not sure why there's so many bees down on that corner. If they're just trying to kill the small hive beetle, or if the queen's down there. But I'm going to put them in this other box. I have a feeling though, hang on. See that cluster down there at the bottom? I think she's probably down in there. Again, I don't really want to hold any of these nasty frames over the new box because I want them to have a chance to get rid of this problem. Alright. Oh, that's awful. Just look at that. Look at all the larvae. Where are you, Queen? I think they're just down in that corner because that's where all the hive beetles are. Alright, look at that. Maybe she's down in there. Is the queen on here? There's some really black bees. I would think they'd be more hygienic. They've caught the scent of the smoke. So I'm actually going to dump them off over here on their lid so that if I need to, still find the queen maybe. I really don't see her in there. And this is the problem. Where is the queen? Where is the queen? Where, oh where is the queen? Here. I'm thinking she might still be in there. So are a buttload of small hive beetles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to brush all these bees onto the outer cover, and then I'm going to go small hive beetle killing in here. Oops. And I figure if I agitate them up enough, eventually I'll find where the clump remains and find the queen. It's crude, it's very disruptive. I don't recommend it. This is about the only thing I can think of to do to get rid of small hive beetles and maybe save this hive. Alright, so there are a lot of bees here. And what I'd really like to do is make sure that the queen is back in. See, these are all sticking their butts up in the air. Does that mean she's over here somewhere? Because she might be tiny. She might not be able to lay. But she should be marked. Huh. Look at this. Can you see the small hive beetles in the corner just bailing ship? Where's my... There's just dozens of them. Look at them. Look at them all. So I'm just really not sure what to do from here because I really need to find the queen in and amongst all these bees. She seems to be in here because they're all hanging out on this inner cover. Alright. Well, I really want to kill all of them. Okay, so what I think I'm going to do now... Wow, just look at all of them. Can you see all of them? Just everywhere. Oh. Okay, I think I'm just going to lift these and squash them all, hive beetles. Is that her? Is that her right here? Queen? No, it is not the queen. That's the small hive beetles, is what that was. Okay, so I think what I'm gonna I think what I'm gonna have to do is just kind of scoop them up and put them in one at a time until I get the queen in there. If I can't get the queen in the hive, I'll never get all the bees back in the hive. Where are they going when they smoke? Because on this side, all of my bees are in this back corner here, which would suggest that my queen is back there. They're fanning their butts. Could I have her in there? I don't know. This is almost as fraught with danger as requeening, though, isn't it? All of their little butts are up in the air. Does that mean there's a queen around here somewhere? Should they all be pointing at her? Let's see. Those butts are pointing that way, and those butts are pointing this way. Here's a butt pointing this way. I think the queen would be over here somewhere. I don't see her. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I just can't seem to find the queen. So I'm going to take them over here and I'm going to knock them out. And if they stay, then I know the queen is over. If they leave, there's a small hive beetle. There's a small hive beetle. But I think that for the most part, either we killed, gotten rid of them. We're going to put them over here though. Okay, there's a small group of bees over here on the back. Well, there's one set that's in here. Right here. There's a small set that's right here. Agitate them a little bit, see if they fly away. I'm also going to smoke them, see if they fly away. The queen is not amongst them, they should fly away. Alright, I'm going to go back over here. Alright, I'm going to go back over here because it looks like they're clumping up. And where there's a clump, there's often a queen. So let's see. See those clumps down there? I'm going to go through them. See if we can't find the queen.